I want you to start CPR, okay?
No, I know for a fact that she's dead because
Do you want to go ahead and try? It might still help, okay?
No, I don't think it'll help. No, I don't think it'll help.
He wasn't born evil. He was a gifted child, a big brother, a genius. But genius without empathy can be destructive. This murder documentary video exposes how 13-year-old Paris Bennett turned his brilliance into calculation and caused the death of his 4-year-old sister, Ella. Let's uncover the truth inside one of America's most disturbing true crime documentaries. This video might contain sensitive content related to domestic violence, child loss of life, and mental health issues. Do not show graphic violence or injury, but some information may be emotionally disturbing. So, if everything being clear, let's get it on. This is Paris Bennett, age 13. On the phone with 911, he refuses to do CPR on his 4-year-old sister Ella. The operator pleads step by step, but Paris keeps dodging, hiding a truth far darker than panic. Just 5 hours before that call, Ella's world was ordinary and happy, home with her big brother and their mom, Charity Bennett. He was the protector. She adored him. Charity Lee is the daughter of a slain father, the daughter of an acquitted mother, and now the mother of a murdered daughter, and the mother of a murderer. The babysitter leaves early while Charity is still at work. At 11:42 p.m., the call hits dispatch.
Is she bleeding anywhere?
Yeah, she's bleeding all over the bed.
Responders race over as the operator begs Paris to start compressions.
Put your hands on her chest and then blow 2 breaths in her mouth, okay?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
He counts out loud, but he's pretending.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Rewind to Abilene, Texas, 1999. Charity is raising 6-year-old Paris alone. He dazzles everyone. IQ 141, excelling in class, teachers charmed. To Charity, he's the perfect boy in a fragile little family. Life had not been easy. In 1993, before Paris was born, his father suffered a severe psychological break, leaving Charity to parent solo. With little support from her mother Kyla, she fights to build stability anyway. Mother and son become a tight pair, then the family grows. April 12, 2002, Ella Bennett is born. Charity places the newborn in Paris's arms. He beams. "Mama, she's beautiful."
I remember putting Ella in his arms, and he was looking down at her, and I'm like waiting to see what the reaction was going to be. And he had this huge smile on his face, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh, Mama, she's beautiful." 2
different temperaments under one roof. Ella, loud, sunny, social, the spark in every room. Paris, quiet inward, happiest with books and drawings. But he embraces big brother duty. The two are inseparable.
Ella absolutely adored Paris. Anything Paris did, Ella had to do. Paris would pick her clothes out every day. He was her fashion consultant, she said.
This is Paris Bennett reporting live. This is Ella's ball reporting live with Ella's ball fit. Suspect of the dirty diaper. Okay, creating the dirty diaper. Ella.
Charity, a single mom of 2, works 2 restaurant jobs and spends every free moment with them. It's a small family, but a full one. Super Bowl Sunday, February 4th, 2007. The bar where Charity works is slammed. She pulls a double shift and hires a sitter for Paris and Ella. Near midnight, officers walk in asking for her.
Around midnight, cops are at the front door. They went to the manager's office. They called my name. They told me that my daughter had been hurt. And I was like, "You need to take me to Ella now."
Charity begged to be taken home. She trembled in shock as the police escorted her out of the bar. On the way, no one spoke. Only the sound of the car engines and the red and blue lights reflected on her pale face. She didn't know what had happened to her children, but the police's silence said it all. They speed to the house, caution tape, patrol cars, news vans, the entire street lit like daylight.
Police everywhere, news trucks, neighbors. The entire street was lit up.
Charity is shaking, pleading for answers, and then the words that tilt the world, "Ella not survive." She watches the small remains bag. It was zipped to her chin. There were visible injuries. She screams apologies to the daughter she couldn't reach in time, then collapses.
She was in a body bag. It was zipped up to her chin. She had blood coming out of her mouth. I started screaming that I was sorry, that I wasn't there. They took her away.
And then I just remember just collapsing.
When she can breathe again, she asks the only question left. Where's my son? Detectives say Paris is already at the station waiting. Relief washes over. He's alive. But in the car on the way to see him, the air turns cold. Charity recognizes a feeling she's known before. History repeating. And that's because 30 years ago, when she was just a little girl, Charity watched her family fall apart after a homicide that shocked the entire town. Cobb County, Georgia, 1980. When Charity was just 6 years old, her parents, James and Kyla, were at the helm of a massive shipping empire. The ships, the containers, and the constant flow of money made them one of the most powerful families in the shipping industry. The seemingly perfect life was just a facade for a marriage rotting from within. Years of chaos, tears, and anger ended in divorce, and in the middle of it all, there was only Charity, the child caught between her parents' love and hatred. In March 1980, after years of separation, Charity's parents unexpectedly reunited. They flew to Las Vegas and held a quick wedding as if to patch things up. A glimmer of hope appeared in Charity's heart that the nightmare was about to end. 2 days later, March 11, 1980, James is found dead, 3 gunshot injuries to vital areas, to head, heart, and back. Suspicion falls on Kyla. Whispers of a $50,000 hired hit swirl. She admits asking about a contract, claims curiosity only. After 4 months and an 11-day trial, the verdict, not guilty. Kyla walked out of the courthouse with a relieved smile. She was free, at least on the surface. Everyone thought she was in the clear, but no one knew the real tragedy that lay ahead. The killer is never found. Kyla returns to wealth and control of the trucking business. Charity grows up with the rumor your mother killed your father rattling in her ears. At home, Kyla's lifestyle spirals. At school, taunts never stop. Love feels conditional and far away.
Kids would come up and say, "Oh, I hear your mommy killed your daddy." It was a constant presence in my life.
While Charity grew up alone, Kyla, Charity's mother, continued to indulge in dangerous pleasures. Alcohol, drugs, despite running the family business, no longer having time for Charity. Kyla insisted that she was innocent, that she did not kill her husband, but those words no longer carried weight, because between her and her daughter, everything had broken down a long time ago. Time passed quietly. Charity graduated from high school with honors, but her mother still could not give her family love. Charity kept the storm inside. The loss of her father and the feeling of abandonment accumulated over the years until they became an unbearable burden. The next 4 years were a blur. Drugs became the only way Charity could forget the pain, but at 18, she gets clean after 4 years of drug use, earns a degree in family development psychology, and becomes a mother, first Paris, then Ella. But the old grief never truly leaves, and the relationship with Kyla stays strained. Her father's death had ripped through Charity's childhood, leaving a scar that would never heal. And now, as the memories came flooding back, the pain resurfaced, strong, haunting, as if it had happened yesterday. Now, decades later, the same crushing grief lands on February 4th, 2007. Charity kisses Ella's forehead one last time as investigators take her away. The silence is overwhelming. Hours after Ella's body was taken away for autopsy, she sat in the back seat of a police car. When they arrived, the officers opened the car door and she quietly followed them into the interrogation room where the formal investigation began. And now, for the first time since Ella died, at the station, an interrogation room door opens. Paris stands at the far end. Charity runs to him, sobbing, holding on to the only child she has left.
And when I saw him, the only thing I felt was so happy to see my child. Because he was the only one left. I started hugging him and just cried forever. And then I realized at some point that he wasn't hugging me back. And that's when everything stopped making sense.
Then she feels it. He isn't hugging back. The warmth is gone. Something is terribly wrong. As detectives begin their work, they have no idea how disturbing the next hours will become. That night, detectives start piecing it together. Around 10:30 p.m., 2 hours before the 911 call, Paris convinces the babysitter to go home early, saying their mom's on her way back and he can handle things. She believes him and leaves 4-year-old Ella alone with her 13-year-old brother.
Abilene 911.
Hello?
Abilene 911, go ahead.
I accidentally killed somebody.
You think you killed somebody?
No, I know I did. I woke up and I was hallucinating.
You were hallucinating?
Yes, and I thought my sister was a demon and I killed her.
Paris is crying, his voice trembling, claiming he just found Ella hurt. She urged the boy to perform CPR. At first, the boy refused, saying it was too late to do anything.
What I want you to do is take her off the bed. And
No, I know for a fact that she's dead because
do you want to go ahead and try? It might still help, okay?
No, I don't think it'll help because...
Come on, Paris, work with me.
The operator pleads with him. You need to help her.
Paris,
Yes?
take her off the bed and put her on the floor.
Okay, hold on.
What I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on her chest, okay? And I want you to push 30 times. I want you to count.
He counts aloud as if pressing on her chest, but when officers arrive, they find Ella face down, untouched. He had never tried to save her. Paris was only pretending during the phone call. In reality, he never intended to save his sister's life.
I went to see him that night. I was like, I don't believe you anymore. I think you killed your sister on purpose. All of a sudden, he became a completely different person. It's like he no longer had to keep up this act anymore. He looked at me and he said, "Y'all are so stupid." He laughed at me.
Paris had been Charity's pride, a calm, studious boy, always gentle with his sister. But now, as the memories flooded back, she couldn't help but shudder. Were these any signs she had been ignoring all these years?
Paris, what is your problem? People that have had siblings, they tussle, they wrestle. Sometimes you have to pull them apart. 95% of the time, they got along well.
But despite her disagreements with Parrish, she never imagined that he would harm his own sister. February 10th, 2007, the church fills for Ella's funeral. Family and friends cry through stories about a bright, fearless girl who loved to sing and make everyone laugh.
Ella wanted to be a singer. I don't really know what to say at a time like this because...
Ella, she was a pistol. And she always said what was ever on her mind. She brought life into everybody.
Abilene, a small town in Texas, is in shock. The loss of life of 4-year-old Ella Bennett has shaken the community. For Charity, the pain is immeasurable. She lost her daughter and saw her son taken. But in the eyes of many, she is more than just a victim. They believe she enabled the harm.
I remember people discussing what kind of books did Paris read and what kind of video games did he play. I believe Charity got the brunt of that because even if it's a book that he's reading, well, who got him the book? And even if it's a video game that he's playing, well, who allowed him to play that game?
Charity took a lot of heat for her situation. People were very cruel to her. She'd be in a shock. Oh, you're the mother that, oh, your son, you know, and
Charity, broken and isolated, faces the town's judgment. Paris, the son she loved so much, was responsible for the death of his sister, Ella. In an instant, Charity lost everything, but Paris was still alive and she was still his mother, even though she was in pain. Like everyone else in the town, she couldn't believe what had happened. She needed answers. She needed to know what had changed her son, to understand, to forgive, and to get justice for Ella.
I had a psychopath checklist youth version administered to Paris and then reevaluated. His assessor told me, "You deserve to know that your son is a sociopath."
Preparing for trial becomes torture. When she talks to prosecutors, she's Ella's mother, demanding justice. When she talks to defense attorneys, she's Paris's mother, the only one he has left.
When I would go talk to a district attorney, I had to be Ella's mother. When I went to talk to a defense attorney, I had to be Paris's mother. And if I tried to put Paris and Ella together in my brain, I really got close to insanity.
The courtroom becomes her battleground, her two children on opposite sides of the same tragedy.
At one point, sat in the middle because I can't choose sides. They're both my children.
Charity knows she can't save Ella, and she can't save Paris either. The only thing she can do is choose to love him differently. Not with forgiveness, but with justice. Paris is no longer the child she once was. He is the offender she gave birth to, and he must be held accountable. Charity vows never to hide or justify him again. She will be there for him, not to protect him, but to see him face justice in his own twisted mind.
After Paris killed his sister, I was not trying to get Paris off. I wanted to get Paris help.
By August 15th, 2007, the verdict is set. Paris pleads guilty to capital homicide in juvenile court. He's sentenced to 40 years in prison, the maximum allowed for a minor. Charity doesn't fight it. Before he's transferred, she makes him a promise.
Always going to love him no matter what. And then I also promised him that I was always going to do the best job I could to be his mother.
Charity refuses to let tragedy define her anymore. Every time I think about Paris, my heart tightens in my chest and starts to beat erratically. I can't breathe and start crying. Charity shared,
I'm tired of the history repeating itself. I have been able to forgive Paris for the worst thing imaginable, but I'm never going to be comfortable with it. In order to have my own sense of peace, to have integrity, it's time to stop the pattern.
She founds the Ella Foundation, named for her daughter, dedicated to violence prevention and mental health awareness for children.
The night that Ella died, I made her a promise that something meaningful would come out of her death.
So I set up the Ella Foundation to prevent violence by sharing our story.
Charity became a powerful voice for children with mental illness. Children lost not because of guilt, but because of the pain of not being understood. She dedicated the rest of her life to ensuring that the tragedy that befell her family would never happen to anyone else. Ella's memory is no longer a pain, but a guiding light. Through Charity, Ella lives on and gives families who thought they had lost everything a second chance at healing.
You're right that it will never bring Ella back, but it does keep Ella alive. I can't change Paris today, but maybe by doing this, I can help with changing somebody else's child.
Now, before we close today's case, I just want to share a few quick disclaimers. The footage you saw is for educational and informational purposes only. We do not support or glorify harm or any form of unlawful behavior. Everyone featured here is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Viewer discretion is advised.